Hey you guys, how's it going? This is Professor Vitt, and as promised, I'm going to work a problem or two here for you guys so that hopefully this will make a little bit more sense as we head into the long weekend. Okay, remember our rule here, what we're trying to do is to look at our premises and derive our conclusions. So, here I'll make this a little bit bigger. You can see we have two premises, A wedge, C wedge D, and we have a second, not A and not C. We can assume these are true and try to derive D. If we can, then the argument is valid. So here's how we do it. First premise, we don't really see too much we can work with, but in the second premise, we see a happy couple, right? So let's go ahead and break up that happy couple. So we get a not A, that's from 2 and elimination. And then we go to line 4. We get not C from the very same thing, 2 and elimination, right? Okay, so now I'm going to shrink this down a little bit just so you can see the see everything a little bit better. Okay, so that's just straightforward. We broke up a happy couple, right, with and E. Now we look at our first premise and our two derived statements, not A and not C. Well, if I look at A wedge, C wedge D, I see that I have a not A right here, and that invites disjunctive syllogism. Remember, disjunctive syllogism is P wedge Q, not P, therefore Q. Well, that's just what we have right here. We know not A is true, and we know A wedge, C wedge D is true, right? Right here, in which case we know that the true part of that sentence has to be C wedge D, and so we cite 1, 3 DS. Again, remember disjunctive syllogism is P wedge Q, not P, therefore Q. That's exactly what we've done here in line 5. The only difference is that we have taken our Q to be this entire thing here, right? And we move that down to line 5. So we now have C wedge D. So we're getting closer to our goal of getting D alone. If we look at line 4 and we look at line 5, we can see another application of DS, or disjunctive syllogism, which would give us D. And that's by 4, 5, DS. That's it. That is the proof. Hopefully that makes some sense. It's a proof that combines combines disjunctive syllogism and elimination. I hope that was helpful, and I will do just a second one right here. Give me a second to type it up. Okay, so here we have another proof. This should be pretty straightforward. We have 3 premises and a conclusion of C. The question is, how do we get there? Well, if you know nothing else about how you're going to get there, anytime you see 2 lines, 2 premises right next to each other, and they're just a straightforward application of a rule, go ahead and apply the rule. So we have if A, then B, A, therefore B, right? That's just an application of modus ponens. In other words, if Andy likes bats, then Bob likes bats. Andy likes bats, so we know Bob likes bats. That's line 1, 2, modus ponens. Okay, now taking a peek at our next goal, we have B on its own, and we have a pesky, irritating little pop-up. B implies C. So we have, again, another application of modus ponens, right? We have B here, and we have B implies C right above it. So we're just going to go ahead and do a modus ponens and get C. That's 3, 4 modus ponens. Remember, modus ponens is like the military police. The military police come in and show their badge and take someone away. And that's exactly what's going on here, right? Look at the first 2 lines. We have A implies B, A, and we take down B. So A is the badge, right? Military police show their badge of A, boom, and they push A down here, or push B, excuse me, down here. Alright, now let's do one more and then I will leave you be. Okay, and lastly, here we go. D wedge E, not D. E implies F, and all of this we are going to try and use to conclude F. Remember, we're trying to determine whether this argument is valid in our language, and validity just means it's not possible for the premises to be true and the conclusion to be false. And if we can derive an argument in our language, then it will be valid. Okay, so let's look at lines 1 and 2, and just think about those for a second, and you should see a rule come to light. And that rule is going to be disjunctive syllogism, and that's going to give us E. And here's how it will work. 1, 2, ds. So the way that this really works is D wedge E is true. Not D is true. So E has to be true, because we know that the disjunct here is going to be true if only one half of it is true. Well, we know not D is true, so D has got to be false, so we can bring down E. Another way to think about it, if we have D wedge E and we have not D, the not D kind of smacks the other D right here and lets the E fly loose. Okay, now we're in a different state. We have an E here. We have an E implies F. Think about lines 3 and 4 for a second, and you should see a straightforward application of a rule, and in fact it's modus ponens. That's 3, 4, modus ponens. And that concludes the proof. It's just a two-step proof. Okay, hopefully these will give you a little bit of a refresh on how proofs are done. I am going to post this along with some study problems that we'll start covering on Monday. Okay, so if you guys have any questions or concerns or comments, never hesitate to contact me. I would love to hear from you, and have a good weekend.